up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, better than the song Uchi Wally Wally. This is State of the Game. I am Dano, and I've been interviewing people before I knew I was. I remember my wife being like, "I think you made a friend," and I'm like, "I think I just interviewed someone about being a gay construction worker in New England." And you know, no, it's and my co-host every week is not just someone who refers to breasts as chesticles, but also someone who was the first person to know that I was interviewing people randomly and should do it more often specifically. Kay Diggy, thank you for being here.
Hey, everyone. That's good.
Thank you. So we have some unbelievable people that I have sat with and been like, I'm going to have them on the show at some point, but it's got to be right. It's got to be perfect. So, Geoff Rhine goes. Can you say the handle? Ignalifier? Did I get that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I sometimes will send comments into Call Out Culture, and it always amuses me when Castro or Alaska tries to pronounce it. But it's I grew up in Alberta, and it's an homage to Jerome Iginla, the famous hockey player who played in Calgary. So Iginla Fire. And it's one of those names that you pick online and it just kind of sticks with you as you grow into adulthood, right? But I generally go by Rhino
I love
based on my last name.
Yeah. It's good. And it was someone bracketologist, not just a hip hop head, but someone who is like, if you picture Batman on top of a building at night observing Gotham, that's how Rhino is with the world of music, hearing everything. So I appreciate you being here and lending your knowledge. And also, we have one of my favorite writers in this hip hop world, Caltrops Press. Thank you. You've written extensively about Backwoodz, and I just thought this would be a perfect syncopation. I was always going to ask you at the right time. This is the right time.
I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we've come to the right time.
The right time.
We have arrived.
Yes.
I have arrived.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a draft we're going to do, the Backwoodz Fantasy Draft. And it's a heck of a thing. It's a heck of a thing, and we have 12 rounds, four people picking. We have different categories. Rhino, you put this together. You talk us through the basics.
All right, cool. Just like you said, 12 rounds, 12 different categories. We all have to make one selection within each category.
Right.
Shall we run through the categories? Does that make sense?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the 12 categories are album by a solo artist, album by a group, a album opener or closer, so a song that opens an album or a song that closes an album. The next category is song by a solo artist. Then we have song by a group or by multiple rappers. We have verse. We have feature verse. We have album art. We have compilation slash mixtape slash EP slash 12-inch slash Lucy, etc.
Right.
Kind of a catch-all category.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last three categories are kind of combined together. So they are rapper slash group, producer, and then wild card. And the idea with those three is to, at the end of the draft, everyone will combine them together, and those three, 1 + 2 + 3, will be your quote unquote dream Backwoodz project. So you get to draft in those three categories, put them together, and that's your, if you were to be able to talk to Woods tomorrow and propose an album, he'd get it cracking. Uh,
Love it.
and by wild card, we want you can get creative with it, whatever you want. It could be uh, artwork, it could be full length collaborator, it could be anything. Art, yeah, I said artwork, like mixing and mastering. It could be DJ. Those are the things I put in the doc, but maybe you guys have some other more wild cardy things. Yeah, those are the 12 categories. So everyone will have to pick one selection for each category, but it's a snake draft, so you can pick whatever category you want as we go through the draft. We're not going to go in order category by category.
Love it. Makes it interesting. So Luke, is there anything we should clarify before we start, working and getting our order and everything?
Yeah, I can go through the other rules that we put that we came up with.
Yeah, let's do that.
So snake draft format. So for anyone who does fantasy drafts, pretty common. We'll go 1 through 4, and then the second round will be 4 through 1, third round 1 through 4, etc. Snake back and forth. Everything's got to be Backwoodz related. So within the Backwoodz universe, doesn't necessarily have to be released on Backwoodz Studioz, the label, but it has to be within the universe. You have to make a selection for all 12 of those categories. You can't pick 2 feature verses and not pick a compilation as an example. This is the important rule. You can only select a maximum of 3 picks from any single artist or group. So you can't pick an album from Elucid, a feature verse from Elucid, a solo song from Elucid, artwork from Elucid. That would be 4, right? You can only pick 3. And we'll try and keep track of that as we go through and we populate the draft board. That's it, really. I'll populate the draft board in real time with some color coding so we can keep track, and hopefully we can share that afterwards, Dan. That would be fun for people to take a look at it and comment on it and tell us whose team is whack and whose team is legit. And that's it, really. And then, like we said before, we'll do our best to announce the category that we're picking in as we go through, just to make it A1 for all the listeners.
And we have the ability through Zoom to share the board as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
So we can do that if we want to, whenever. When we come to a good point during rounds or whatever. So that's cool. I like that and all that. Kay, do you have any other questions? Any other?
No, let's go.
Let's rock. Kay takes fantasy drafting very serious. So
I do.
Nice.
So what is let's get a random order going and see what we can do. What do we got? Are we generating that?
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah. How do we do that? This is our first rodeo here.
I have never played fantasy sports in my life, so this is my first fantasy experience.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Okay,
so should I just share my screen?
Yeah, do that. Do we have shuffle thing we can do? That shuffles the names.
Share.
Share it, baby. Backwoodz fantasy draft. This thing goes back so long. This label, it's crazy.
Do the CEOs of Backwoodz know this is happening?
I did text Woods. Yes, I did. And I don't no, sorry, I DM'd him and let him know we had a strategy and everything, and he laughed. He definitely did.
Okay, everyone seeing this?
Oh, we got the wheel. Oh my god.
This is the one I use in class.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Wheel of names.
All right. Someone give me the go ahead.
Do it.
Kay's got the green. Let's go.
No.
This is
Okay.
rigged.
How convenient. Rigged.
Love it.
All right. Rhino's got the first pick.
You're a winner, buddy.
Second pick. I don't know if that's good.
I think it seems good.
I want the hammer spot. Yes. Give me the good. Stay. Yep. Yep. There we go.
Dan time.
Give me that
Dan?
fourth spot.
You, buddy.
Number 2.
I'm in second position. We got the
Perfect.
right.
Perfect. No.
Oh, Trey for K. It still says you're a winner. The third out of hey, good job for you.
All right, K third,
Yep.
Caltrops fourth.
No need to spin the wheel at that point.
Okay. Might as well get her going here.
Let's do it, Rhino. You got first pick. Give us your
Yeah.
category. What category do you think?
Now, Dan, you mentioned you had some strategy. I have my little strategy document here too.
Ooh.
We're taking this seriously. Okay, I am going to select in the album solo category
Oh, okay.
Aethiopes by Billy Wood.
Ooh. Now that means Aethiopes is off the board for the rest of us.
Great.
In this category, right?
Oh, in this category. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that
Yep,
would be
no,
the
I
way
like
to
that.
do it.
I like that. Yep.
Otherwise, I think it might be a bit like too restrictive.
Mhm.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I didn't have it in that category, so I am feeling good.
So yeah, what can I say about this album? It is a stacked category. Like I thought about just waiting and take because my second, third, fourth choice, I'd be happy with any of them, but I love this album so much. I think it's not only the best Billy Woods album, but I think it's the best album of the decade so far. It's so replayable. Um, the more that you put into decoding and deciphering and understanding it, the more you get out of it. Like Woods is so characteristically poetic, like as usual, but this time there's just such rich subject matter that every time you listen, you can pick apart another layer and learn something. And of course, like I said, that goes hand in hand with putting more into it. And there's so many resources out there on this album to help you along the way because it is so complex. Like for me personally, I've read Caltrops' incredible piece on it, for example. I've read about the transatlantic triangular slave trade. You read about imperialism.
Absolutely.
Woods is talking about what it means to be black in modern day America. Obviously, I'll never fully understand that, but if Woods is your professor in that regard, I think you're doing better than a lot of people. I'm on the right path anyway. I watched Congi's Harvest. I listened to a podcast about Robert Mugabe. Like it goes on and on and on. And
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think there's a bunch more I could say about it, but I'm guessing that a song or two might come up in another category or a verse or two. So
yeah. It'll be around.
I'll leave it there. But happy to take this one first overall.
Joe, if Joseph Conrad were to hear Aethiopes, how would he love it? What do you think the reaction would be?
Conrad would probably say that Woods was biting Heart of Darkness too much.
Yeah.
And then Achebe would walk into the room
and
punch Conrad in the face.
Yep.
But then they would all agree at the end to still read and listen to one another's work.
Yep. Conrad would bring the Little Kim energy, like the Little Kim to Nicki Minaj energy to that situation. So, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to compare Little Kim to Joseph Conrad. I'm sure that's happening all over the world. Kay, do you have thoughts on this, on the Ethiops thing?
No, I mean, great pick.
Great pick. I'm going to go next. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to do my verse first. Because if we run out of like the verses I like, I'm worried about that. I don't memorize everyone's verses like rappers do. So I'm going to go with, I need to find this. It's Wake Up Dead Man verse 1. from Elucid, and it's off Save Yourself,
Mm.
and it's one of my favorite opening lines in the history of rap music. This piano was played underwater by a slave ship suicide jumper with 8 fingers. So no, he didn't take a selfie. And I think, I guess the reason why this is so important to me, uh, and credit to Castro for breaking this down on Call Out Culture and really getting me into it. Elucid brings so much imagination to the Backwoodz universe, right? I think it's been said by a lot of people that Woods is a historian. Elucid is magical, right? Like in this surrealistic way that does tie into history still, but goes a little bit outside of it, a little bit outside of linear movement, understanding. So I think Wake Up Dead Man verse 1 is important like that.
Good pick, Dan. I mean, verse to me, there are so many options. We could have done 12 rounds just verses.
Right.
Like that's how
Right.
rich the catalog is. Uh, I didn't have this one on my list. I'm just bringing it up now. I should put my earbud in and listen to them as we go along here. But I'm looking at the lyrics and instantly you're reminded of how evocative this song is, and like you said, that opening that's kind of unforgettable.
Yeah, my list is so weird. I really think I'll be okay moving through this draft. Uh, yeah. So I'm into it. Kay, you are up third. You are
Okay.
picking right now. Let's go.
I mean, so I'm kind of I mean, I haven't been into underground hip hop for that long. I guess I'm relatively like a baby into it. So my introduction to Backwoods, I'll go with my pick. I'll go with Billy Woods, because that was my introduction to Backwoods, and he's throughout my knowing of him, he's opened my mind to a lot of things in terms of what it means to be a rapper and history as well. And it's so he's gonna have to be my first pick.
It's a good first pick.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
good
I
first
know
pick.
that that's like the obvious pick, but I mean, you got to get value. If you can get Woods at 3, that's good value. So
You got to give value. No, it's and I think a lot of what you were saying, Kay, because when Rhino was talking about the research hole that he went down with
yeah,
Aethiops, I was thinking of you because you were talking about the Crutoy verse
yeah,
that Woods had that I remember telling you, I don't know if I called you, was like, this shit is about like the fucking Russia and Afghanistan in the 80s and shit.
yeah.
Like, and you were like, what? And you were like, I researched that all night, and I feel like, man, that's
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like it just not only do you have to read, like not only do you have to read the Rap Genius, but you have to get on Wikipedia and you have to start trying to put things together. It was really what he was. Woods was one of the first rappers that really stretched me on like an intellectual level, I guess you could say.
yep, yep.
Hey,
That's
what
cool.
was the Woods album that like cemented it for you, that made you a fan?
I really think it was the Arm and Hammer Haram.
Mm.
I think that, and then there was another. I'm not going to say the crystallizing moment because it's going to be one of my picks. It may be one of my picks in the future, but there was like one verse that really like stood out to me. That was like, okay, this is special.
Yeah. No, and it's seeing them live around that Haram time frame. I think when we went, Kay, that was
Hmm.
like a big thing.
Hmm.
Um, Caltrops Press, what your pick? This is exciting.
Well, I want to take a moment to commend Rhino on, for those that can only hear and not see, he is loyal to the stylization of these names that he's typing into this
Yes. Yes.
The man is spacing out
Yep.
Elucid's name, which I don't even think Woods does in press releases.
No, he doesn't, does he? No, it makes me laugh. I think he's
Yeah, he
commented on
said.
that.
I
He's
think
like,
he
nah,
said,
I ain't
yeah,
fucking doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy's getting too wild with it. All right, so
Thank you, though. Thank you.
no
It's
doubt.
important. Matters.
It matters.
I was I'm gonna go again, inexperienced with fantasy, so I'm just gonna go right through the categories as Rhino typed them up. So I'm gonna go with the album, solo album first.
Yep.
And my choice was gonna be Ethiops, but it was stolen.
Stolen out from under you.
First pick. I guess that's what it means when you're
Love
playing.
it.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to go with my alternate choice, not my runner-up, just an alternate, which would be "I Told Bessie" by Lucid.
Oh my gosh. What an album. What an album.
It's an album that I sat with for a long time when it dropped because I knew I immediately wanted to write about it. Um, it was the first solo Lucid album. Well, kind of the first solo Lucid album that I was exposed to. I'll clarify that later, maybe. Um, and not being familiar with his earlier solo work, it really crystallized for me him as this anti-mystic, this uh, man at the pulpit, but no longer uh, saying the prayers that you would expect to hear. Uh, for me, it's also a summer album. Uh, that's when I sat with it on sweaty nights in my unair conditioned kitchen, and I'll always associate it with that type of weather. And it's just track to track, he put together an amazing cast of producers that somehow, despite their diverse styles and approaches, everything goes together so well. Um, that's all I can really say about it.
It's
Or I could say a lot more, but that is all I will say.
yes, we could all say. I will add one thing that I think at the time Until Bessie came out, I'm not sure I understood it. I'm not sure I did. But over time, the people that I talked to, specifically black people I talked to within this space, podcasters, rappers, producers, there were things that were kind of chanted throughout that album about their experience that they kept repeating. At least the people in my circle kept repeating. And it was like they kind of felt like this is deeper than just hooks. This is deeper than even just chants. These are like mantras.
Yeah, and on that note, I would suggest everybody go listen to the Next Movement podcast interview with the Lucid after this album dropped, and the insights that he provides are
Yes.
definitely worthwhile and worth checking out.
He is amazing. Yes.
That podcast is so good. It's
So
so
good.
good.
They're very professional. Nothing against others. Like I love Free Music Empire and I love Call Out Culture for the looseness, for the casual conversational style. But the Next Movement is just they're on point.
They're on point, and I love their booking. I love that they book people no one else books. You know what I mean?
hmm
They
Yeah.
get things out of people no one else gets out. They're great.
The questions are great. The questions
Yes,
are
questions are awesome. So snake draft means Caltrops picks first in the second round, right?
all right. Okay.
Mhm.
Back at it.
You're back at it.
So again, I'm going to stay in order here as much as I can. So I'm going to go album from a group. And this is tough. This is a tough one. I'm between two, but I'm going to go with the one that introduced me to Backwoodz, and that would be Arm& Hammer's Paraffin.
Paraffin. Okay. All right.
My personal favorite Arm& Hammer album, slightly edging out Haram. I mean, as I said, it's the breakthrough album for me. It's the discovery album for me. It's the album that introduced me to Woods, to Elucid, to all the producers that are stacked on that track list. It blew my mind. It let me know that underground hip hop was alive and well and thriving. And it was a pivotal moment. I think I've talked about it before. I was sitting on my living room floor with my daughter making a puzzle, and put the album on, and it was not a minute into it that I said that this was something that was for me. This was what I had been looking for.
Yep. No, Rhino, I think Paraffin gets slept on a little bit in the history of Armand Hammer. Like there's a lot of albums, but I think some of the other albums are a little have bigger, more rambunctious singles, maybe. And Paraffin feels like a rainy day masterpiece. Like I got nowhere to be. The weather outside's terrible. I'm gonna listen to Paraffin front to back. You know?
I see that. I get that. It could be. I mean, you and I are in the RMPP Discord, and some of my thoughts on this stuff is always colored by the group of people that we have in there and their opinions. And I think Paraffin is held in pretty high regard amongst a lot of people in the RMPP. I will say, as I did my research the last couple of weeks and listened to a lot of albums, I came back to Paraffin over and over.
Yep.
You can't really go wrong with any pick for these albums, in either category. But I love this pick. Paraffin is, and it's interesting that was your take on it, Dan, because to me, it feels a bit more abrasive to me, and it's kind of like a sledgehammer of an album in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Agreed. I don't see it as a rainy day album. I see it as like bump it in the Jeep as loud as possible, as loud as your stock speakers will go.
Like a thundering pronouncement that Arm& Hammer is here.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful album. And I am bullish on my pick in this category, so I'm excited to get to this. But K is next.
So I'll go with the category of album artwork.
Oh, we're going purple.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with one that really stood out to me, the Cyber City Society Fatboy Sharif cover. I just think, like, looking back at that album, I think the artwork, not only do I like the vivid color of it, but I think it really fit the theme and really was like a good introduction to that album.
Yeah.
Or not introduction, embodiment of what the album stood for.
Yep. Yeah, when when we first saw that cover, it was like, holy smokes.
The level of detail, the color, the theme behind it, it just really fit well with the project.
Yeah. I showed my son my three picks for album art, and he was like, whoa. It's like really all of them. So Backwoodz album art is serious.
And
So
is that artist Shane Ingersoll? Is that who that is?
It is. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yep. Ingersoll is serious. Is like the other I don't think Backwoodz is full of like artists and collaborators who complement one another, right? Like Ingersoll and Alexander Richter, right? I'd compare them to like Masai Music and Fanon in the earlier days of Armand Hammer when you would put them together and work. Like, I think they just do great work together. So yeah. With that, is it my turn now?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going album from a group. Get that knocked out. Like it's one of the only ones I'm like, better get this. It's Brass.
Nice.
Brass is wild. Like Brass is so cool. And if you told me that I would be picking this high when it came out, I would have been like completely confused by what was going on, right? Because when this came out, I don't think I fully processed it. but the longer I've had with it, I always come back to it, and it's kind of, the perfect meeting of performance poetry stylistics with lyricism and hip hop production, and the whole thing. We still don't lose Elucid, who has a bunch of features on it, and his fluidity, his flow helps bind it as well. Like it's a perfect mixture for me. And Giraffe Hunts is one of the coolest things ever. Yep.
I'm with you, Dan. That album didn't click for me for a while. Many listens to crack it, and like so many Backwoodz albums, I'm not even close to cracking it. But
Yeah.
it's one that grows on me every time I listen to it. It's penetrating.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oof. Like this draft. We are penetrating this draft. It's beautiful. And Rhino. It's your turn to penetrate.
Okay, I'm going maybe off the board a little bit, but I'm ready to stand by this pick. So I'm going in the wild card category. I'm picking Willie Green to mix and master my dream Backwoodz album. He's a secret sauce. It's incredible listening to Backwoodz stuff in 320 or in FLAC or on vinyl, and the richness, the way that songs are layered into one another, the way that the vocals always cut through crystal clearly. Is he the best at what he does in hip hop? I would say yes. I think if there's something that unifies the roster and the releases together, and they are so different. Like just look at the last 3 albums that were chosen: Brass, Cyber City Society, Paraffin, I Told Bessie. Yeah. They're all so different, and yet I say that I'm not sure if Willie Green mixed and mastered all of them, but I imagine he did at least 2 or 3 of them. Right. That's what. It's the common greatness between them, in my opinion.
Yeah, wild card Willie Green. I appreciate it. I think someone who is that good at mixing and mastering, it's almost like a great goalie in soccer or something. Like the team is just now at another level because you can't touch him, and I think that's what being mixed and mastered by Willie Green is. Like there's so I was thinking of this, like whenever I think of who I would want to release an album through Backwoodz, one of the first things I think about is they'll get mixed and mastered by Willie Green. How great is that? So I'm with you. Anybody else?
And
thoughts on that? Oh, go ahead. Cool.
I was jumping right into my next pick. I don't want to step on it.
Jump right in. Next pick. Let's go.
All right. Man, I don't know what category to go with. There's 2 picks already in group albums, so I've got 3 on my list. I think I might as well just let Kay pick.
Jump in on that, yeah.
And then I can take mine later. I'm gonna go with. I mean, this will be my second Woods pick, but I do want to get this on my team. I'm going to take in verse Billy Woods on Year Zero.
Ooh, maps. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like, is this recency bias on my part? I don't know. Maybe. Maps, and everyone seems to love the Danny Brown verse on the song, which, to be honest, I think is kind of fun, but it's almost a little bit out of place. In a way, like I don't dislike it, but Woods' verse, like, come on. Crazy. It's insane to me. It is so good. Like every line is a quotable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up here. I quit looking for solutions, bought a pistol and learned how to use it. Ape stood and walked into the future. March of progress ends hunchback in front of the computer. Yeah. Sooner or later, it's going to be 2 unrelated active shooters. My taxes pay police brutality settlements.
Mm.
Kickstand for the weapon, tumor pressing on his brain. But yeah, man was forgetting to adjust for the win. Dead hand reach from the past to guide events. The document is undead. I love that because it's, and to me anyway, it's a callback to the line from Tabula Rasa by Lucid, where he says, "The document is alive. I speak life." I love this. This is a common thing with Woods and Lucid and Arm & Hammer, right? Those the references that sort of skip all through their catalog back and forth. Incredible.
Rhino,
Common sense says my. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did you point that out in the past on Twitter? At one point, you said, give examples where Lucid and Woods are communicating through their lyrics, inadvertently or not. Because somebody brought that up at one point. It was really fascinating to see these channels of communication that keep happening.
Yeah.
That specific example I may have. I remember Small Pro tweeted this at one point, and then it was quote tweeted and tons of replies from people. That's probably a Twitter thread worth digging up because it was full of gems. Yeah, I find that so fascinating, that idea of whether it's just referencing a song title or a callback to a song or continuing on a theme that's expanded, that's touched on in another song and expanding on it later. Anyway, year zero.
Love it.
There are so many Woods verses to choose from. There are so many verses from all these Backwoodz artists, but to me,
I was just going
right
to say
at the top of the list.
Say, Rhino, I considered 2 Woods verses from Maps, and neither of them were this verse.
I get it. Yeah,
it was insane. So that Maps is just full of gold. Maps is like, when it came out, I didn't get it. I wasn't that into it. But over the course of the year, I was like, holy crap, this is one of my favorite Woods albums. It's really good. And it's really about maturation and growth. It's really, really dope. Yeah.
It's possible this was not on anyone else's list, and I don't care. I wanted it.
My whole list is like that. My whole list.
Yeah. Dan's up.
I'm up. Let's go. I'm gonna jump into featured verse. Okay. And I'm gonna go Bardo.
Nice.
Yeah,
What?
that was gonna be my pick. Yeah. I mean, that was a good one.
No, when the wave of Bardo love started coming, I didn't take it seriously. I was like, this is an extra track on this Prem Rock album. What is the big deal here? And you press play, and it's unbelievable. It's like I read the Bardo verse to my son today. And he was like, that was one verse? I was like, yeah, and it's a kind of a Sundance movie. Like, you could that's an incredible story. It's one of the most fascinating things that I've ever heard from Woods. There's a section near the end. I promise I'm done soon. There's a section near the end where Woods says, like, where she starts critiquing his rap stuff, his rap life, right? You're still doing this rap stuff. And most rappers would have been like, I told her where to go with it. And Woods is like, I laughed. We moved on. I was, there's an implication of like, wasn't sure if this was going to go further, didn't go further. Now I'm at the strip club sad. The end. Holy shit. Like, there's a bravery in being that, in being the loser of the story you're telling. And Woods has those guts. I love that. I love that verse.
And often, right? He's often the loser at the end of the narrative, right? He's alone in the hotel room with the bottle of champagne or whatever.
Yep.
He's alone at Christmas. No Christmas this Christmas. Yeah.
I took Bardo from you, Kay.
Yeah, man. Oh, I mean that was like I said, that was a great verse, and you broke it down beautifully. Okay, so I'll go with Song by a Group. And this song, I saw it live and it always resonated with me. I'm gonna go with Aaron McKee by Shrapnel.
Oh my God, that's such a cool pick. You're
I
the
love
I,
it.
I I'll never forget like the moment that I first heard that song. It just really resonated with me.
Yep,
And I
yep.
think it is the perfect embodiment of what the group stands for and what those two guys are about.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're right. I think you're right, Kay. I think it like because it's in the world of shrapnel, like inside jokes are like a language, you
Mhm.
know? Inside jokes, inside references, like the kind of thing where you're like, you don't get the joke until 5, 6 seconds later. You're like, oh, twisted the thing on the thing. That's the world of shrapnel, and I think that's what this song really is. That is really awesome.
And Aaron McKee, like he may not be as known outside of the Philadelphia fan base, 76er fan base, but when you ask a Philadelphia 76er fan about Aaron McKee, they love him for what he did, what he stood for, showing up, doing his role, and doing his role well.
Yep.
Okay, you mentioned you saw them do this one live. I've seen some clips of them performing it live. It always seems like it rings off at their
Uh,
live shows. Is that was that what
Yep.
it was like?
yeah,
Yep.
the energy. You definitely felt the energy amp up in the room when they perform that song.
Cool pick.
Great team. Whew.
All
Who's
right.
next?
This is Caltrops.
Oh,
Round
it's
three, pick four, and then he's up right after that. Round four, pick one.
All right, I'm gonna go for solo song, and I'm gonna take it back to Dan's last pick with Bardo, but I'm gonna go for the home team and talk about Prem's verse on that track. Now this is a bit of recency bias because I spent so much time this summer seeing Shrapnel live, uh, writing about their performance, writing about their album. Nobody planning to leave, just a phenomenal project. Um, and I really gained an appreciation for both Castro and Prem's style when I took a harder look at their work. I started to figure out what they were doing mechanically on the page, on the mic. Um, Me and my good friend Elmatic, who I'm sure you're all familiar with his work as well.
absolutely. Yep.
It seems we've gotten into this friendly competition of trying to outdo one another when it comes to coining, these very corny puns and whatnot. For
Yep.
example,
Yep.
he in his piece about Nas, he puns on Nas's first name and turns Nas ear into Nas ear, as in thing you hear with. And so I thought I was topping him when I came up in my shrapnel piece with mongrel a conflation of mongrel and illusion to
Yep.
reference the way that Prem and Castro both draw from such disparate sources and then stack their illusions within a couple of bars, usually a surplus of illusions. He thought it was pretty whack, but for
I dig it.
we'll
I
leave that for history to decide. But anyway,
Yep.
to get back to Bardo, so when I heard that song and I talk about that song a lot in that piece, it seems to be a verse about art and mortality, and Prem is able to dazzle with multi-syllabic rhymes and internal rhymes and all sorts of sound devices, which a lot of rappers can do. But where he has the edge is that he can do all those things without sacrificing content, without sacrificing the narrative. So he can say, And if these walls could chime in, they'd stress importance of time and all the many moons it took you to really grasp the assignment, muttering something about chakras and alignment. I'd be at the mom and pop shop to drop me off some consignment. And I mean, he's telling a story, but sound wise, everything is happening so fast, it's hard to keep up with. But he's never sacrificing either quality. And then even the end, when we get back to this mortality piece, OG left me with a twist on an old expression. Either you're holding the loaded weapon or hoeing up rhododendrons. I mean, come on. That's incredible writing.
Absolutely.
And so I'm gonna go with Prem Rock for solo song. Wait, hold on. Is that song or is that verse? That's verse.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, you
Yeah.
said, I think you said song, but you want that one in verse for Prem Rock?
Correct.
Nice. Wow, the same song gets chosen. Two
I
different
love
verses.
that. That's
Love it.
fantastic. That's what this draft is all about. Love that. Yeah. No, that's so cool. Yeah, I love that. The so now we do it's Caltrops again, right?
Yeah, I guess so. All right. So right back here. So let's go with album opener or closer, and we're gonna go with an album closer, and we're gonna go with an Arm and Hammer album closer. And they seem to always have
Yep.
usually a 1-2 punch. The penultimate track and the last track really always take it home. But this time I'm gonna go with Stone Fruit off of
course.
Haram. Just a really incredible song. I think for them, it was something we had never heard from them before. From the elusive singing at the start of the track in this kind of gravelly, guttural way, to the Woods verse, which again is, I spent time with this song. I wrote about this song. It's just it's something from another time, and just the Alchemist production on it. I've heard him speak about that track a bit. It just seemed that everything came together there. Everybody was bringing their sharpest tools to that song. And I also heard some discussion about where it should be placed in the sequence of tracks on the album. And they ultimately decided on the closing track, which I think is the right decision. It's a beautiful end to an amazing project.
Should that be in yellow, Rhino? I think he's talking about album opener or closer.
Oh, did I put it in the wrong? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You may have noticed I copied and pasted that because I had it on my short list for
yeah.
opener or closer as well. That
I'm sure
incredible.
we all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Apologies, Ron.
no, it's
all in the game.
I cried when I heard it. You know what I mean? I'm not messing with it. So it's a great song. Yeah. What do anybody have anything else on that, or should we go to the next pick? We're rolling. Okay,
we probably need to move on. I'll say quickly, I saw them perform in Vancouver a couple years ago, and that song had everyone in like just transfixed, like a lucid held the mic over his head and sort of swayed back and forth, and he had everyone just locked in. It was a moment. It was cool.
Beautiful. Is K next or is somebody else next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm gonna go with, so this is off of I Told Bessie. I'm gonna go with Impasse.
Woo!
For me, that song, I mean, I think like it's almost like spiritual in a way. I think that beat is one of the best beats I've ever heard. And it's one of the things, like, I think it's one of the few things recently that's gotten like a visceral response from me. And I think he really pours his, like, the essence of Elucid can be seen in that song, Impasse. I'm pronouncing that right?
I don't know.
Impasse. I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I think, yeah. It's a great pick. You could so many of those songs really like really are the Lucid experience, and Seb Bash is such a part of that. Child Actor is such a
Yeah.
part. Just like a perfect place to be in these off kilter sounds and really enjoy them.
Right. It's something to me it like transcend there's something transcendent about that song.
I love that. Yeah.
Great pick. Okay, this was on my list too. You want this in solo song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just checking. Yeah, I think this is a tremendous song. Is this floating past right and wrong? I don't identify with either. I think that's a line from this song, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I love that. That is, Arm and Hammer, Woods, and Elucid both are so good at that. That both these verses at large, but then also just these little lines that you can slice out and that stick in your head and that
Mhm.
make you think about the song differently, the album differently. They make you think about life in a new way or a different way. I think that's an incredible. It's just trying to load on my phone so I can double check. Releasing spells for a weary tongue, pushing out and through. I sing a simple song. Sound and fury, quieted and calm, floating past right and wrong. Don't identify with either.
Mhm.
Incredible.
Incredible. No. The I'm ready for my pick under the category of solo song. Uh, and I'm gonna go with All Jokes Aside.
Whew.
I miss my guys. And I'm not sure it's something that Billy Woods would love me to talk to him about, but whenever someone dies in my life who was important to me, I can put on All Jokes Aside. There's like church has that run that delivers you to All Jokes Aside, and All Jokes Aside is just it kind of forces you to feel what you're not trying to feel.
Mm.
It's a beautiful song. There's sometimes when Woods just kind of nails what we're trying to do.
All jokes aside, I enjoyed the ride. I missed my guys. Took the church and put it in the sky. I need to quit just looking at Genius for every single song that we talk about. But
It's fantastic.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah. What it's the kind of I mean, it's transcendent. It's transcendent. As a song, it's definitely one of my favorite. You know, Woods songs. You know, if I had to pick one Backwoodz song, that's the one from a solo. That's the one. For me. Anybody else?
nice.
All jokes aside, content. Okay. Anybody?
No.
I'm into it. I'm into it. So Rhino time for your pick.
Okay, I have a bunch of categories where I have many options. So again, I think I'm just going to leave those for later. I am going to go with maybe a few sort of outside the box again. I'm going to take in compilation, mixtape, EP, Lucy, etc. I'm going to take Steel Tip Dove, Call Me When You're Outside, which
Okay. All right.
I really have a strong affinity for this album. I think the song Warner Wolf by Lucid, Kingston by Billy Woods, both standout songs, I think, each in the catalog of each. This album, maybe this was like sometimes you just have like a cool experience with a record, but um, I loved this when it dropped. I listened to it on streaming. I bought the vinyl, and when I first got the vinyl, I put it on, and maybe it was just that night or that particular time in my life. Who knows? Just the setup I had dialed in. I don't know, but it blew me away on wax. And again, this is I don't know if this is the Willie Green element or the quality of Backwoodz pressings or what, but I just remember being transfixed. I think Dove's certainly on a run lately, and this might have been one of the projects that started the ball rolling and this current wave that he's on. I think this is a tremendous EP. I really like it.
Yeah, no, I had this as my third option in this category. I it's really unique, it's really cool, and it's not long. It's a very well cast. It's not it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think in some way, and I don't know, hopefully it doesn't sound like a bad. In some ways, Steel Tip Dove's superpower is his practicality. Because there's so many impractical creators out there who kind of run their projects off the rail, and Dove never does that. And this album is like beautifully, perfect. you know,
Do you mean like he plays to the strength of his collaborators? Dan,
yeah,
is that yeah?
yeah. I mean, Dove loves like really, left field rap, right? He can work with No Sash, he can work with all these people who are out there, but Dove's work ethic is very like, very linear, very practical, and gets it done, you know, uh, in a way that makes sense, makes good decisions.
Yeah, I think that everything you said there rings true, Dan. But at the same time, the output, like he's putting out so much music that he is producing, and I've seen that with him. I've seen that with August Fanon. I've seen that with Small Pro. These guys are just cranking out music.
Yeah.
It seems like they're just so into it right now. And that was also Call Me When You're Outside was also in the contention for my pick in that category. And
Yeah.
I just want to say we could probably see ourselves. I could see us doing a fused arrow fantasy
I
draft
was
in a couple
thinking
of
that
years,
earlier
right?
today.
Because he's putting so much out. So in
Oh,
a couple of years' time, we're probably going to be in the same position
yeah.
now.
And it's so good. The Fused Arrow has been on such a run. I was definitely thinking that same thing earlier today.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's building.
yeah. Call Me When You're Outside is dope. Yeah, that's good stuff. So now it's Rhino's pick for the first of the next round. Oh man, I'm getting to my
I'm gonna
weird stuff.
go.
I can't wait to give you my weird stuff.
I'm gonna take in rapper slash group for my dream project. This is a chalky pick. Armand Hammer.
Okay.
I'm not sure who I like better, Armand or Hammer, but
Yeah, we'll work on it.
yeah, they are. That's the second element of my dream project. So far I've got Armand Hammer, mixed and mastered by Willie Green. Who will my producer be? Stay tuned. I don't know just yet, but plenty of options, obviously. Not much to say about that pick, but well, or alternatively, uh, we could talk about that pick for days. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get. Oh, okay. All right. So my turn now. Let me see.
yeah,
I'm gonna put my dream producer on the board then.
okay,
Preservation.
nice.
Uh, I really do think it preservation is so unique as a property within these spaces, um, and has such a unique connection to the source material sampled, and like it's that like preservation changes my opinion of the people he works with. Like I liked Crime Apple, but ever since the Preservation Crime Apple album, I'm nuts for Crime Apple. Like it's it keys me into what makes them special. And he's always kind of done that. Just a brilliant person, I think.
Mm,
So that's my deal.
mm.
Yeah, preservation.
So Dan, do you consider preservation like a in the Backwoods universe? Like, and these picks aren't limited to that. I think as long as like one of the three elements has something to do with Backwoodz, that's cool. So I'm not at all questioning it. But like when you think of preservation now, because of Ethiops and because of the few other production credits he has, does it seem to you like he's a Backwoodz affiliate, Backwoodz soldier, Backwoodz
So
crew member?
yes, he produced Ethiops. That's the ground game argument, right? But going beyond that, he's the reason that Test Strip sounds the way it is.
Mm,
He's the one who had the conversation with Woods and said, "You guys should do a live album.
mm,
You guys should bring in a band." And they did that jam session that created the samples for the beats. Um, and I think that's preservation's a part of that world. Yep. No, okay is next.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess I'll continue on with the producer run, and I'm going to go with Small Pro. Small Professors. Yeah. He's just, Dan knows how much I speak highly of his production. I just think he's just a really I've never heard a Small Pro song I don't like, is what I'll say.
Yep. Yeah. He's one of my favorite producers in the world.
Yeah.
Always. And, I'll always save a spot for him because I just think yeah, you're right. I don't have any issues with any of the stuff he does. My only issue with him is he doesn't do enough stuff. I want more stuff. But yeah, Small Pro's great pick. Caltrops, you're up. You're doing it. We're round 5 right now.
All right. Well, let's go to feature verse.
Ooh.
And I think I'm going to speak for a lot of people in the audience when I pick this one. I'm going to go with Curly Castro from Arm& Hammer's Wishing Bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The verse that birthed 1,000 t-shirts.
Right.
And I mean, we always use this cliche of understanding. What is it? Understanding the job or
Yep. The assignment. Yeah.
Assignment. Yeah, you understand the assignment. And here's a case of that. Castro comes in with a vengeance on an album that's full of heavy hitters, of course. Aram front to back is nearly unmatched, and he comes in with Stowaway in the back of the car, Biggie bled, all the clocks, Brooklyn went cold the night that manifest. No one on Church Ave made a sound until they came correct. A pound of flesh was needed to scale when time to pay respect. Buck Puff, survivor's remorse should keep him fucked up. And I mean, it's got Georgetown Hoya's references at the end.
Right.
So he's doing his usual Castro thing, but with such emphasis. And also, seeing the future a bit, which he fits right into his comic book lore.
Right.
That,
yeah. No, it's
would be my pick.
It's become very prophetic as a verse, and I was lucky enough to talk to him. I had a Killer Priest discography deep dive that I did with Fatboy Sharif and Castro, and I got to talk to Castro like right as that dropped, and he knew he didn't have much space on the song, and he made the most of it. He wanted to, make it sing, and that's really cool. That's really smart. Yeah, he can fit himself anywhere. That's one of the things about Castro.
Another thing I respect about him is his PH spelling, as if he's typing on the internet circa 2000. and one, or even earlier.
Right.
I remember those days.
Yes, it definitely feels very duck down, you know?
Yeah, yeah, they might have done it even before the internet did. That's right.
Right. It feels very, very duck down records. Yeah. Now you are rolling around. You got the next pick, Caltrops. Rolling.
All right, let's do compilation slash mixtape slash EP, 12-inch, etc. So staying within the Backwoodz universe, but going off the Backwoodz label a bit here. I'm gonna pick an album that I've been anxious to write about, and I imagine I will at some point in time, and that is Small Bills, the matchup of Elucid and The Lasso, who gave us Don't Play It Straight.
Okay. Small Bills is awesome.
I mean, The Lasso, from what I understand, comes at his production with a lot of live instrumentation worked in. Uh, and that album, I don't know if it came out of nowhere for everyone, but it certainly came out of nowhere for me. I was not anticipating it. I just think I saw it just maybe a video drop or something. But yeah, it's a tremendous project uh, where you could see, Elucid's one. He has his own universe where he draws back to his songs speak to one another. He's almost in a call and response with himself, and so there's these certain mantras, as people like to say, or lines that he speaks on that album that come back in his other projects, and I love that quality about him and this album, just front to back. I think is phenomenal. Great production. It's unlike any other project, I think, in this universe.
Yep. I'm with you.
This is a good, not reminder, but a good prompt for me to listen to this album again. This is another one that I have tried to crack, and I can't quite get there, but I just brought it up on Bandcamp. It's funny. Rap Music Plug Podcast left a comment. The Lasso matched Elucid's mercurial level of creativity and created an album that is truly like none other.
So that's Roe, I guess. That's
Yeah,
Yep.
that's Rowan.
yeah.
There's a
look
lot
at
of
it.
energy on this record that will surely put you in a creative headspace, he says.
Oh man, that's compliments straight from Toronto.
When we talked to Elucid last time, I told him I think the Small Bills album is the best Halloween rap album ever.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
You put that shit on in Halloween, Rhino, it goes crazy. Yep. Yep.
Halloween fell on a weekend, not this year.
Ooh.
Not this year.
Yeah. So Kay, you're in the box, you're in the booth.
So I'm gonna go with album Solo.
Okay.
And the one I'm gonna go with is For All Debts, Public and Private by Def C. One, I mean, we've had him on the show several times, and he's just a very humble individual. And second, like this album is, to me, lyrically, it's one of the best albums that came out that year, in terms of lyrics.
Yep.
In terms of sincerity, like Def C is a very sincere, not only person but rapper as well, and I think that sincerity really shines through in this project.
And the thing about Fraud, that's public and private, and Armand Hammer are on this album as well. So yeah, they're on the. To me, this album is the coolest that Def C's ever sounded.
Mm-hmm.
He's got albums that are like more personal or more analytical. This is, to me, the coolest he's ever sounded. Boathouse, like, really brought a level of, I don't know, polish or confidence to it, and I just think it's the album I reach for of his, maybe the most. Yeah.
He's in his bag on this one for sure. So I do have to bring up, though, I hate to play the referee on this one. I don't think this is a Backwoodz release. So we can still,
Oh,
I'm happy to still count it. We can amend the rule slightly. It's on
oh,
closed
Full
sessions.
sessions, yeah.
So I
oh,
don't know
okay.
if you want to change your pick, Kay, or if we just let it slide. It does feel like it's in, I mean, Def C to me does feel like he's in the Backwoodz sphere. And this is all just for fun anyways, but
But you could
Yeah.
do trapdoor, which is
Yeah.
also,
And I think this was on the heels of Trapdoor. It wasn't long after
yeah, it
Trapdoor
wasn't long.
dropped that this came out.
Yep,
So
yep.
he's still in that same mode. I would give it a pass.
All
I'm
right.
down. I'm down.
done.
Yeah. I'm not stressing it. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Is it my turn already again? This is cool.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, let me look. Oh, I'm going with my son's pick on the album art. So I had my own pick as to what was the number one. He came in and said my number two choice was my number one, and he wanted Metal Lung.
Oh, yeah. Phenomenal.
Yep. Metal Lung. We talked about like Ingersoll and Alexander Richter, and this kind of you get both. You know, you get the city of Ingersoll and this amazing background that like, and to go to the comic books thing, Castro loves comic books, and the best comic book illustrators spend a ton of time on the town and the buildings and the people walking by. And so Ingersoll gives that universe, and then there's that picture of them right in the center that gives you that, yeah, that Alexander Richter energy. So I just love that cover so much.
Oh, you're taking this one in album art.
Album art, yep, yep.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That makes
Yep.
sense. Great album cover. So that's two for Ingersoll.
Really? Who we got?
Cyber City Society and Metal Lung. Yeah.
Dan, you're gonna have to reach out to him and let him know how well he's doing.
He's doing great. He's doing great. Ingersoll is cleaning up. Yeah, that's great. So yeah. Rhino, we are ready to close out round six.
Moving on. Yeah. Okay. I'll stick in the album art category then, and we got to put Alexander Richter on the board here. I have two options from him. Caltrops, you haven't picked yet, so I don't want to step on your toes by mentioning them both.
Pick,
So I will just
follow your heart, Rhino.
follow my heart. I need to get a Lucid on the board, and I think this album cover is incredible. I'm going with Save Yourself.
Save Yourself. Yes, it's a great album cover.
And
Iconic.
I don't know what everyone's opinion is on. I love that when Backwoodz re-releases these albums on vinyl, they take away the typeface, like the name of the album from. I see, right.
Yeah.
I love
Caltrop
it.
just gave
I-
the thumbs up.
yeah.
I think it's cool, right? Like that image, for whatever reason, just becomes that much more resonant. I don't know if it's all the dead space above him sitting atop the car or standing on top of the car. I don't know what it is, but it's yeah, it's just very. I can see it in my mind. I'm struggling to try and think of the right word,
No,
but
it is, and he
it's
really
cool.
does. He holds the kind of stare with you. The way he looks down the barrel, and it's just a hypnotic cover. Yeah, it's simple, but it's perfect.
Rhino, I think you're right that these re-releases where they remove the font or the typeface, it's the way to go. They just and I think that's where Woods has wanted to go. You know, if we look at Ethiops or Church, um, Maps went in a slightly different direction, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, I think the Save Yourself album cover looks better without the type, and especially the History Will Absolve Me cover. I'm on record saying that that cover was kind of marred by the typeface. And when he re-released it and took it away, it made it that much better. It's all about
Yeah.
it.
That's another great one. Yeah. Good times.
And then I have another pick here, don't I? Okay, I will take. Wow, the strategy here. Okay, I'm gonna take my group album.
Yep.
Once again, I have two picks, and I'm happy with either one. So on the spot here, I'm gonna take what I think is my favorite Arm& Hammer album. It really depends on what day you ask me this question, but I'm gonna take Shrines.
Boom. Shrines. I love Shrines.
Yeah, what can I say about this album? So this is one. Kay, you talked about your like Backwoodz journey or your introduction.
Mhm.
I was exposed to their music first, I think just before the pandemic. So it was either like late 2018 or 2019 at some point, and uh didn't struggle with it, but I heard it and it just wasn't hit connecting with me at that time. And so when Shrines came out, I was still in this period where I think I was warming up to Woods as a solo artist. I
Yeah.
really liked Terror Management. Um, Hiding Places I liked. For whatever reason, Terror Management was the one that stuck with me a bit more. And I remember getting to Shrines and just being it sounded so different. And of course, as the catalog has grown, you sort of come to understand that they really do, all the artists really do push themselves from project to project, different sounds and explore different places. But it really seemed to be so different, I guess, just in terms of the everything, the features, the song structure, the sequencing, the production, which it's a little unorthodox, right? And I didn't get it. I think like I put out end of the year recommendation lists on Twitter. This wasn't even on my list, and I had to go and revise it after a few years went by, and I kept listening to it, and with every listen, just started to love it and appreciate it more and more. Um,
Yep.
I mean, there's so many highlights on this album. The run from I think the third song through King Tubby
Oof.
is incredible to me. Um,
Mm.
yeah, great production on this album, which it's funny that I just mentioned I didn't really understand the production. Now I love it.
Yep.
Wide variety of producers, right? Navy Blue, Fanon, Alexander, or not Alexander, Andrew Broder, Messiah Music,
Yep.
Craven, Earl Sweatshirt, I think, does a track on
I
there.
think you might. Yeah. Yeah. I would. This is the album Rhino where like, because I heard Rome, it was awesome. I heard Paraffin, it was different than Rome. When I heard Shrines, that was the first time I was like, oh, every album is always going to be different. That's what
Yeah,
these people do. Like that was the first album I realized, internalized. It was like, oh, the norm for Armand Hammer is it will never be the same. They're not
yeah.
improving on a model. They're creating a new model, you know?
And
Yeah.
I agree. As like growing up with hip hop, I remember one album that stands out in that way for me was Common's Electric Circus.
Yeah.
At the time, it just was such a radical departure, and his albums all sounded a bit different to that point, but it was such a radical departure. And I remember being really frustrated by it. Like, why did he do this? He just dropped two, three albums in a row that were personal classics, and this one, like, what's he doing? And of course, I really love that album. I hold it in high regard. I know not many people do, but it was a good lesson for me, uh, absorbing music that I think you want artists to push themselves and to produce something different and to keep challenging the status quo and trying to improve and to give you something different. If they give you the same thing time after time, it can be stagnant and
Yeah.
boring, and you might
Yeah.
not go back to it. So that
I mean, Castro said that like there was that week when I think it might have been Shrines where like Run the Jewels dropped the same week that Armand Hammer did, or a week before or
yeah,
after.
that sounds
And
right. Yeah.
Castro was like, the difference is every Armand Hammer album is different, and Run the Jewels are, you know, they're tweaking a known thing, you know, and so it's run you run out of room to grow more on that model than you do when you're always kind of stretching. So yeah, I'm with it. I'm ready for my pick. This is my last non-weird pick. So, but I got to do it. I can't have a team without it. Album opener, Ghostface Targaryen.
Nice.
Mm.
I think it's one of the best album openers in history. I brought it up on our album openers show. Um, like I can confirm the spelling for you. The
Okay, yeah.
Targaryen.
EAN. All right, I was
Yep.
close. I had
Yep.
the AE, the Aethiops AE. EAN. Got
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, Shrapnel off their self-titled. First, it was the first song on it. Um, and it kicked off this journey, like a lot of it. That I love that album really took me from I follow Armand Hammer to I follow backwards. You know? Um, and that's that so that song is connected to that for me.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick, man. Kay, what are you up to?
Okay, so I think I'm going with verse. Um, and I'm gonna go with Billy Woods, the second verse of NYC Tap Water.
Oh, that's such a good pick. New York
I mean, I think for me, my favorite verse is the Bardo, but I think this verse also embodies, just how great a storyteller not Woods is, as well as how efficient he is, and he doesn't waste any lines, he doesn't waste any details. Like everything that's in the song, there's a reason for everything that he says. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. No.
The picture, how he paints pictures. I mean, how he's able to communicate like his state of mind using little details. I mean, it's really a gift.
Yep.
So I think that second verse on NYC Tap Water is really like an embodiment of that to me.
Yep. There's a lot of good cat bars in that one.
Yeah.
A lot of good discussions about the cat in the neighborhood. It's just
Yep.
really yeah. Yeah. I remember I told you, Kat, I was at my wife's work holiday party and people found out that I do this and they were like, give me one song to listen to from this year. And I was like, New York City Tap Water.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stand on that. That's a great pick. Yeah.
I,
Caltrops, you're
I
in.
like. Sorry, Dan. I like your picks so far, Kay. There, you have a handful that weren't on my list at all, and I'm
No,
looking at them like
thanks.
pretty sharp. I like it.
It's yeah, they're dope. I agree. It's a good team.
All right, so trying to be strategic here. I sort of want to start building my Dream Backwoods album, fearing that somebody will take something. Let's go with album art though, where I had a tough decision to make that was made a bit easier by uh, who was it? I think it was Rhino's pick. Who picked Save Yourself?
Yeah, Dan went Metal Lung, and then I took Save Yourself right
Okay,
after.
yeah. So you picked an Alexander Richter cover. So instead of going with the Haram cover, which I adore for its unintentional transgressiveness. Who knew it would cause such a stir?
That's
Who knew that it would be blurred over Anthony Fantano's shoulder?
hilarious.
But because Alexander Richter has already been tapped for that category, I am going to select Decay by Fatboy Sharif and Steel Tip Dove with the photograph by Tim Fish, aka
Man,
Ginger Slim.
Fantastic pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim, who's become a friend, he's a great photographer. In addition to having a long-standing blog that's promoted all these artists and so many more, he's got a real eye. And on that cover in particular, I haven't talked to Sharif about where he saw it or how he came to pick it, but it's just a portal into the world of Fatboy Sharif. And that world, in my mind, is always in some remote location in New Jersey where there's a dilapidated building, roof collapsed, all sorts of detritus around the space. And here we have Tim's lens looking through what looks to be a brick wall, a crumbling brick wall. And we just get a glimpse into the world that Sharif is going to address on the album's content.
Good deal.
Mm.
No, Decay is beautiful. It was definitely in my mix. It was definitely one of my options. So I love that. It's a great one. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. It just kind of sucks you in. It's the depth of it. Like yeah. The
Yeah, like what are we
foreground.
even looking at? Is this a classroom? Is this what even is this place that's fallen into such disrepair? And I know that it's more than likely over in England where Tim is, but could easily be some building in the far reaches of Jersey.
Yep.
I've been to places like this, and Sharif has been to places like this on basically every one of his music video shoots.
Sure.
Shout out to Dunce Cap.
Dunce Cap? Absolutely. Doing work here. So is it Caltrops picks again? We ready to rock?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Round
So
eight.
I think I do need to reserve one of my Dream Backwoodz album spots, and I'm gonna go with the producer, and I'm gonna pick August Fanon.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Uh-oh, I see. Kate didn't like that.
No. I mean, I love that. You for someone who's never done a fancy draft, you got great value with that pick.
Great value with
Great
Fanon.
value.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what needs to be said.
No, yeah.
The guy's a monster, and hopefully I could flesh out the rest of this team. And you'll see what happens in those
Doing
coming.
pretty good. You're doing pretty darn good with it. Yeah. Okay, so what position does that put you in? Post Fanon?
So now I think I need an album from a group, right? So I'm gonna go with Shrapnel, Nobody Planning to Leave.
Oh, that's a good pick.
And I may be biased because I've seen them live twice, and I think for me, you could see the growth. Dan, we saw them. We saw them 2022, maybe. Was it 2020?
Yep.
2022, and then we saw them again in 2024, and I think you could see a lot of the growth between the two, the chemistry developing, and I think in terms of production, I think that this album really is great live, and really suits them, not only as individual artists but as a group really well.
Absolutely.
Do you like this album better than Metal Lung?
Yeah. I just think you can see, and I think we talked to them about it. I think for me, I love to see growth, and I love to see chemistry between artists in a group. And I think for me, this shows like the natural chemistry and the development of Shrapnel.
Yep.
That and I loved, and I think we talked about it when they were on the show. I love the space as well, like the use of space, and the production is really like very strong to me.
Controller 7, yeah.
Yeah.
tells a story. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. No, I think it's great. That's a good pick. Good
Definitely one
times.
of my favorite albums so far this year. I think it's great.
Yeah, totally. What is so is it my turn now?
Sorry, I'm scrolling around here. Yep, Dan's
All
up
good, man. All good.
8.3.
I'm trying to figure out which one of my strange picks to do. Let me go with my rapper, my dream rapper. Let me lock that in because I got options everywhere else. I'm gonna go with Vort Omega.
Dan,
Super dope.
what do you do? This is the agony, I guess, of fantasy.
This.
Thank you for introducing it to me, Dan.
No problem. I'm here for you. So I've got Vort Omega and Preservation. So that's
Yeesh.
where I'm at. So and I don't think you can tell the story of Backwoods without Vort Omega. You know, um, he's if you listen to the early stuff, he's all over all of it. Like he's and um when people write about Backwoods and say it reminds me of Jooks, it really reminds them of Vort Omega. You know, Vort Omega is the secret sauce of the fantastical surrealism, of the grounded emotional stuff, of the historical stuff. That Vortal was that mix before that mix was even something we knew how to quantify. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Good
Great
deal.
pick, Dan. I in my prep, I listened to the Call Out Culture episode, History of Backwoods.
Yep.
And yeah, Woods talks a lot about Vortal and how in the, I guess it was the early 2000s, right? That he
Yep.
linked up with Vortal and that sort of set him on the, or helped to introduce him to the world and set him on the path he's on now. A Vortal album on Backwoods in 2024 makes a lot of sense to me. And who did you say you have a producer as well? Oh, you said Preservation. Stupid. It's just you might have locked up that trio already. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm up. The last pick in round 8. I need a solo song. Do I have a song by two rappers or a group? I do not. So I have okay, I need album opener or closer as well. You know what? I'm gonna go with that. I'm going to pick Spelling by Elucid from I
Ooh, spelling. Yeah, no, that shit is beautiful. I
There were so many options for this one. Like I have 6 or 7 on the list.
yeah.
Um, I want to get an Elucid pick on here. Who someone else picked I told Bessie, right? Who oh that was you, Joe, in the first round. Yeah.
Yep.
So you spoke quite eloquently about that album. Um, to me, this opener like evokes a lot of the imagery and the themes of the album. I mean, to me, like it took me a minute to think, well, what does he mean spelling? You know, is he? And then I thought, okay, let's break this song down a little bit more, and also after listening to the album, that within the context of the album a bit more. So to me, it's this imagery about pursuing a higher self, working through the mysteries of life, the callings, the challenges that are presented to you. That child actor beat, it's very woozy and kind of warbling. It feels perfect for Lucid. Um, and then he says, I'm just checking my notes. He says here early on in the song, if you're seeking understanding, you should jam this where you are.
Woo.
And then he talks about needings and wantings, secrets and hauntings, like these things that you have to navigate as you learn and you grow, right? So where has he been? He's been spelling. He's been spelling out these steps to a higher plane of existence. He's been spelling, like casting spells, meditating, praying, writing, both probably, right? There's a clip in that spoken word intro where I don't know who the speaker is, but they say, "Do you see the beauty in that?" like it's an impossible task, but it's one completely worthy of you. And it's just a perfect song to me and a perfect way to open the album. I hold this album in really high regard. Also, it's my favorite Lucid album. We're recording this maybe just a week before Revelator comes out, right? Which
Amazing.
I'm excited for.
Yeah, it's great.
But if it has an opener half as good as this, I will be extremely happy.
And it really does. It really does. But yeah, it's my son is starting to get into hip hop, but it's like on the Nas, Snoop Dogg, Outkast level, like the top tier. And you can't really introduce underground stuff, backwoods stuff, to a kid like 11 years old who's it's not going to pick it up. He loves spelling though. Every time I've put on spelling, he's like, I like this. Like so there's something about spelling and it feels very much indicative of Elucid. There's something about Elucid that just pops. And it's why everyone sounds so crazy when they're saying that Armand Hammer sound like the same person. It's just nothing to be, that's insane. But yeah. Any other thoughts on spelling, or are we moving on? Move on. Let's do
Move
another
on.
Rhino. Let's go.
Man, I have multiple picks for some of these categories, and I want them all to be recognized. I hope maybe we can talk about them after. Like I have for song by multiple rappers or a group, I have 4 picks, and they're all I'd be happy with any one of them. I honestly don't want to pick because I don't want to leave the other 3 out. So maybe I'll leave that for a second. I'm gonna go with, well, and the same thing with solo song too, but I got to pick at some point. So I'll go with the one that I had at the top of my list, even though I struggled to put one at the top of my list. I'm going to take, and let me just double check. I don't have more than 3 Billy Woods picks so far. I have 2. I'm taking Remorseless by Billy Woods.
Yep. This was high in my verse selection. I had Remorseless for a verse option. Verse 1 of Remorseless. There's a freedom in admitting that it won't get better. Like that is just, Remorseless hit us like in the chest, like it was something that we were all talking about because it felt like what we were dealing with,
And then on top of that, he also peppers in this imagery that, like some football imagery, some humor. He has that line, too clever by halftime down 20. I'm not that good at math, but common sense, I got plenty. It's fucking over.
Awesome.
Like, he does so much within his songs and his verses that it's hard not to just be in awe sometimes.
Yeah.
My accountant is a head full of bad memories and sad endings. It's all payment pending. Anything you want in this cursed earth, probably better off getting it yourself. See what it's worth. Terrific song. I know I already picked Aethiopes. This is doubling up in that regard, but
and this is in your solo song thing?
This is my solo song. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect. I'm gonna roll with let me see here. I don't want to give in to my insane stuff where I dig into the back catalog like that. So I'm gonna go with my most reasonable pick here. I'm gonna go with compilation mixtape EP 12-inch. And I'm gonna go Doc Savage.
Good one.
Yeah, I don't want to tell the story of Backwoodz without Doc Savage. I don't care. I almost like. I did at one point send an email to everyone who was on Doc Savage, except Willie Green, and asked them like if they would be willing to send me their oral history of this project to how they were involved in the project. Like I wanted to patch together an oral history of the album. I just think it's absolutely critical. Everybody Def C, Brzezowski, everybody's on this. Uh, it's a roadmap to this place we're in now. And it sounds like $1 billion. Willie Green uh, just makes it sing, you know? Yeah.
Wow, you're not kidding. I'm looking at the track list now because I've heard this, but I don't know it that well. Sketch 185, Haslow, NASA,
Yep.
Castro, Cavalier, Henry Canyons,
Yep.
June Classic, Teddy Faley,
Whew.
Mike Eagle, Denmark Vesey, Milo, Prem. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stacked. It is, to me, there's no compilation on Backwoodz more important than Doc Savage.
Oh, Dan, again, I'm on the Bandcamp page. Comment from Dan O.
Yep.
It says, I'm not saying that Willie Green doesn't work with whack MCs. I'm saying Willie Green won't even work with good MCs. This album deserves a spot in the Producer Project Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I'm saying Willie Green won't even work with good MCs. Oh, meaning like he only works with incredible MCs?
Yes,
Got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's not even touching that level. Yes, great. Yeah, I'm all over it. So love that one. Okay, what are you rolling with? Round 9. We're deep in this track.
Yeah, so I need a closer. So I'm gonna go with Sketch 185, Western Automatic Music Part 2, off of
You left nothing for the swim back.
Nothing left with the swim. Yeah, I was gonna go with the opener, but I thought that the closer was even stronger.
Yep.
I'll just read I'll read the lyrics. I won't read the whole thing, but he goes, "You got to do what you got to do," says the photo album's Phantoms. He's back to work. Buys the most meaningful gifts, charming. He's sorry. He's back to work. Those dreams don't build themselves. Who leads the army? Back to work. She walks out of his life. He straightens up. Back to work. He's only good at effing up, and making art about it. He's back. It worked. And that's how he ends the album. And I believe that there was like a 12-year. There was like a 12-year gap between his projects, correct?
Yep.
So for them not to hear from you solo in 12 years and then leave the final impression with this verse is really remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, which category are you taking that again?
Album closer.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm happy someone took a Sketch 185 track to get him on the board here. I had him in a few categories and just ended up picking other stuff, but yeah, that's an incredible album. Yeah. And like you say, Kay, finishes really strong. I mean, obviously with the closer, but Up to Speed and then Western Automatic Music Part 1 and 2, like, yeah, he crushes it there.
Yeah, and it's the humility, and it's people always ask, hey, why haven't you dropped the project? Or why he answers those questions. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he did a really, really good job with that verse. Yeah. And I only read a portion of the verse. I mean, the whole verse there's some phenomenal moments in it.
Sketch is like always been a fire-breathing badass. Mm-hmm. This album is his most personal, his most gut-wrenching, and that is such a great verse to highlight as that. It's really good. It's awesome.
So we all have our openers and closers. We'll have to talk about this maybe afterwards. I'm surprised that there are a few that weren't picked, but not that anyone had off the board picks, but yeah, again, just speaks to how strong how deep the
we can
catalog
talk strategy after. I'm excited to do that. The Caltrops press. This is your pick. This is time. Your time.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to try to lock in another dream team selections. I did have Vortal Mega as my MC, Dan.
Yep.
I mean, I think we were probably thinking the same thing. And I would love to hear Vortal over an album's worth of August Phenom beats. But I would also love to hear Elucid over a full album of August Phenom beats, which,
Oh,
from what I understand, is happening. So I might be getting a little close to reality here with this fantasy. But nonetheless, it hasn't happened yet. And so I'm going to go with Elucid.
that's beautiful. I love that. Swaggers up to the podium and takes Elucid.
I will leave my final dream team selection for another round, but my next pick is going to be for the song by a group or with features, and I'm going to select Babylon by Bus off of Maps featuring Billy Woods featuring Shrapnel, a song that I've seen performed live as recently as this past summer, where the three of these MCs had to share two mics. And so when Prem and Castro got done doing their back and forth for the middle verse, I had to make a quick pass to Woods, who comes in like gangbusters for that final stretch of the song with the strings.
Right.
Caught him lacking on 9/11. Woods has a fascination with the cultural and political and social context of 9/11, which I share.
Right.
I'd like to know his 9/11 story if he was in the city. Most likely, I guess he was, unless he was living in DC at that time. We'll have to find out. But yeah, that's I think a monster collab feature track.
Absolutely.
I mean, right on down to it's probably the best Shrapnel whisper on record yet.
And I love the love that Maps is getting on this draft. Like, there's a lot of good Maps picks. Maps is beautiful and deserves that love. Yeah. Okay, what are you up to for the next?
Oh man. So what categories do I need? It's who? So
You need wild
so
card. You
yeah,
need
so the wild card is
compilation.
producer, rapper, group, and then so let's see.
Right. So far, you've got Billy Woods and Small Pro. So you need the wild card element there. You need compilation, and you need what's the other one?
Oh, feature verse.
Feature verse. Yeah.
Well,
Lot to talk about.
yeah. Okay, so wild card, it's who I can pick anyone.
Yeah, guest. It could be cover art. It could be, mixing who would mix it. It could be whatever.
Cover. Okay.
Yeah, it could be like a feature guest or collaborator throughout the whole album, like Nostrum Grocers, like Moore Mother and Woods on brass. It could be.
Oh, okay.
Could be a Joe Biden intro. You know what I mean? It could,
Sure, it could be a Dano spoken word intro.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So, gosh, and then the compilation. I mean, I don't really know. I'll let someone take an extra compilation for me. I'm not too familiar with the compilation. So.
Oh, can I do one? Can I do your pick?
Yes.
All right. I'll do your pick, Kay. You can tag me in. Strike Anywhere EP by the Super Cron, Flight Brothers, and Haiku. Hardhead, New York hip hop with all the cool people on it. It jams. It's fun as shit, and it's early backwoods. It's just really dope.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's on streaming. I think it's available for people to find. It's early backwoods energy was just so like New York mixtape raucous kind of, not raucous records, but like actual raucous. Like it was, and this carries some of that really cool knucklehead New York energy. Uh, but you know, I think there's one song on there where they take the like the Oompa Loompa song and they loop it into the beat and they rap over the Oompa Loompa song. It's great. It's great. I think it's going to be good for you.
You want to lock that one in, Kay?
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Let's do it. I'll do it for you. Let's see here. Oh, so I'm coming next, and this is where I'm starting to get into my weird stuff. Let's go with my song by a group. Okay, and this is one of the reasons I was never worried about this draft. I was never worried about getting what I wanted because synonymisms I knew would be there. Synonymisms off Hijinks by Googie and Henry Canyons. I am the world's foremost lover of Henry Canyons music. It relaxes me. Synonymisms has to be on my team. I have always loved Googie. I went nuts for this album. It's uh, it's just kind of about the joy of rapping your ass off, you know? Um, and it's just it's beautiful, you know, uh, being able to just deliver every time. So, yeah, Synonymisms is my song by group.
Love it. Those are two picks I'm not all that familiar with. I've heard some of the Super Prun stuff, but not that tape or compilation. I'll have to check it out. And that Googie album, I did listen to it, but I don't remember it. So
Yep.
another one on the list. Uh,
It's
so
like
I'm up.
crazy jazz.
Last pick in round 10.
Yep.
So I need song by multiple rappers slash group. I need feature verse and I need producer. Okay, so for song by a group, man, it's so hard to say to not pick these Arm and Hammer songs that I have down. Do I have? I think I might have enough Arm and Hammer already. At any rate, not gonna go Arm and Hammer. I'm gonna take Shrapnel, Lazy Dog.
Lazy Dog. Oh, what a song.
Well, wait, it gets worse.
What a video.
Yeah, terrific video. Actually, I was going to mention that for Joe's pick, Babylon by Bus too. Again,
Great point.
credit to an indie label for consistently putting out interesting, unique music videos. I'm sure on a limited budget, right?
Sure.
Yeah, the Lazy Dog video is very cool. Black and white, right? If I remember right.
I believe, yeah, absolutely.
And I think and Alchemist is in it, right? I think they filmed it when Alchemist was out there for a show, maybe, and they linked up with him. Anyway, really cool song. It is an interesting addition to that album in that it, like on the back half, as the back half sort of turns down the energy a little bit. It fits really well for me. I love both verses. Castro always brings the heat with an opening verse, and Prem's flow and the pockets he finds on that like moody beat is yeah, very memorable to me.
That's beautiful. No, I think it's a great pick. It's a heck of a song. Yeah. You're
Feature
back at the
verse.
podium.
Oh, sorry.
You're back at the podium, right?
Okay. Feature verse. I think I can pick Woods. Oh, I have three Billy Woods. So if this is from Aethiops, I don't think I can pick it, right? I think I need to pick something else.
Pick some. You got to switch it up.
Switch it up. Okay.
Go to the reserves.
Okay. I mean, this is kind of a fun one. Again, recency bias with a lot of my picks, but it's just the nature of the beast, I suppose. I'm going with Open Mike Eagle on Dadaism 3 from
Oh my
Nobody Planning
God,
to
that's
Leave.
so good.
I think
Oh,
maybe it's my favorite feature of the year, maybe one of my favorite verses of the year. Just that mix of uh, disillusionment and hilarity and quirky observations and wordplay. Like Open Mike has always been elite at that stuff, and it seems like lately he's just on another planet with it. I have it. I have some of the lines written out here. My right aorta is full of ordered Wendy's.
yes,
My
yeah.
tour luggage is probably the fanciest. Nah, I'm lying like Ozymandias or some guy trying to be polyamorous.
Well, and the thing about that feature, he delivers it like he's about to cry, right? He sounds very like on the edge of breaking down, but it's the funniest shit you've ever heard. And like one of the things about Mike when he features on tracks, he always finds a way to be totally different than everybody else in the song.
Yeah,
you know, while staying within the structure of the song. Like he's a technician, really, and yeah, that's a special verse. I love that verse. It's a great.
that's a good point because it does. Up to that point, the song is not. I don't think there's a lot of humor or like sort of oddball
Right.
observations in Prem and Castro's verses, and then yeah, Mike kind of gives it this injection of I don't know, like what you just said, that unique quality that he brings to songs. Anyway,
Absolutely,
Open Mike Eagle.
absolutely. I love that. Let me see here. I'm gonna go. Okay, Kay really sold me on this, right? I was torn. I got too many options in solo album. Too many options. But Kay made a very stirring case. I'm gonna go with He Left Nothing for the Swim Back.
Mm.
I remember at the time it came out, we did the year-end show, and I said, whether this album ends up as your album of the year or not, doesn't matter. This isn't an album of the year, this is an album of a career. Took a whole career to make this album. And it you feel the weight of that in it. This is the measure of Sketch. And for that weight, it matters, and it matters to me. Thank you for that, Kay.
Yeah.
I'm
I
ready.
like that pick, Dan. I said before, I hope Sketch gets some kind of recognition. Yeah, that's it's not an album I go back to a lot because it's so dense and so it's not aggressive is the right word, but it's just so intense,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't fit every mood. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
But when you're in the mood, it always delivers. Always. Like it's beautiful when you need it. Yeah. Okay, where are you at with it? You got your wild card?
I think I have to do feature verse. So it's gosh, it's getting tough. So it's got to be a feature verse on a Backwoodz project.
I guess so. Or we opened it up that it
Wait, yeah.
could be a feature verse on something else, right? As long as
Yeah, it
it's in
could
the
be a
universe.
backwoods person on somebody else
Right.
featuring doing their stuff on there.
Okay. So this one, I mean, I'm gonna go. I actually like, and I know someone mentioned Year Zero, so I'm gonna go Danny Brown's verse on Year Zero.
Wow, we're going Danny Brown. Yeah, no, he was laughing and enjoying himself. It was
Yeah, I think
yeah.
the contrast between the two really, really is something that worked for me.
Yep. Yep. I like that Danny Brown didn't try and do a Woods thing. He did Danny Brown, you know? It was, yeah, I think that's cool. Right on, man. This is shaping up. This is good. Yeah, man. So Caltrops is up with these last two.
All right, so I think I got song solo left. Um, yeah,
Yep.
and I think I'm tapped out on Elucid choices, although Betamax was in the running.
Mm.
Um, but I'm tapped out on Lucid. But in this category, we seem pretty Billy Woods heavy. But I'm gonna have to pick one. Remorseless was a great choice. All jokes aside, great choice. Both crossed my mind.
Yep.
But I'm gonna go with a song that I've been listening to a lot lately. I guess in anticipation of seeing Woods and Kenny Siegel in December. Um, so I've been playing Hiding Places a lot and Red Dust, which
Red us.
from my understanding is a fan favorite.
Yep.
Um, just a hell of an end to an album. And the second verse in particular, I've been fixating on a lot. Just the revenge element to it. Might have to put some words to it at some point. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Pretty remarkable.
Emotional excavation done on that one. Just a real deal. The one I had from that hiding places was I had steak knives for verse potential because
Mm.
steak knives has always stuck with me. I love that so much. But yep, what a different direction, man. Uh, yep.
I see that one referenced a lot online for favorite Billy Wood songs, best Billy Wood songs.
Oh yeah, Red Dust is way up there. Yep.
It's kind of undeniable in terms of like the both like there's always poetry in his verses, but also that when he's on that emotional wave, that it's so raw and open and brutally honest and savage, and he's not afraid to show that part of himself, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is the I want to suck the marrow out of your bones. You're
Yeah,
at the top of the list. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
I think
yeah. Good.
revenge is a theme he comes back to frequently, or has at least on other projects and albums. And I've always found it interesting when he does so because we see a lot of caricatured, cartoonish versions of revenge in hip hop, um, or gratuitous examples. And though you could make the argument that the violence and the revenge in Red Dust is gratuitous, it's not a Tarantino film.
No,
It's not. It's real. Um, yeah,
I'm
amazing.
with you.
All
Good
right,
pick.
so I guess I got to pivot to my last pick now
Last pick time.
to complete my dream team.
Mhm.
All right, so we got August Fanon on the beats. We got Elucid on the mic, and I kind of want to. I want to get. I kind of want to get a little wild here. I don't know if you guys are going to indulge me, but to be complete executive producer and make all these decisions, maybe I'll just start with one last element, and then in the post game, I could flesh it out more. Does that sound good?
Do what you do.
All right, so we're going to go with the cover art from a person who's yet to work with Backwoodz officially, but I could definitely see it happening, and that's going to be Chop the Head. A really talented artist who seems to be, for the album work that he's done, album cover work he's done seems to fit two categories. There's almost a Hieronymus Bosch,
Yep.
big zoomed out scene like Carrot Season, which just dropped Feek and Lungs uh, on POW recordings. That's Chop the Head. But then also he does um, work like Something About Shirley, the Fatboy Sharif Roper Williams 10-minute project.
Yep.
And that's what I envision, something in that vein, a portrait, one of his portrait pieces, these sort of assembled, mangled. I don't even know his means for achieving these images, but it looks like there's a collage element to it, also a painterly touch. So that's what I would envision for this collaboration between Elucid and August Fanon. So let's hope that comes to be.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so there's the Carrot Season cover. This is like the next generation's Dookie. Now that
Right. This is
that just hit me. I wonder if Chop intended that. That's
awesome.
It looks like Alice in Wonderland on acid or something.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm not familiar with this artist. I'm familiar with some of the work, but do I have it right? It's Chop the Head, 3 words.
Yeah, that's correct. Chop the Head.
Okay. What was the other cover that you mentioned?
Something About Shirley, Fatboy Sharif, Something About Shirley. Yeah, pull that up for the viewers at home. He also did a tour poster, I think for his own band. I think he's got a band. And he also created a portrait of Sharif for a poster. Yeah, so this is Something About Shirley. This is,
Wow.
I don't know what's going on here, but maybe some sort of baby with he tapped into Grey's Anatomy and tore some pages from it and twisted and turned things into whatever the hell this is.
It's like black metal surrealism or something. It's cool.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay,
So
if you saw this when you closed your eyes, what would you do? Would you find a therapist immediately, or what would you do?
I'd go talk to my therapist immediately.
Yeah.
No, well, I can't see. I mean, I'm looking at it through a screen. It's like, the details, it looks very intricate. Oh,
Yeah.
So Joe, what is this doing for your trio? You have Elucid and Fanon. What is the cover art like? How do you envision it informing the album that those two would create?
well, I think if Fanon and Elucid get together, which again, I hear that this has happened or will happen or is in the process of happening, I think I'm imagining something pretty dark. Fanon maybe in one of his I'm trying to think of a song that speaks to the sound that I think they would produce together over the length of an album. I don't know, but I think Chop's Something About Shirley cover is the same vibe. This is something dark, something almost like a death metal album.
Yeah, I mean,
What's the song on I Told Bessie, produced by Fanon with the guitar? I'm terrible with titles. Smile Lines.
Yes.
Smile Lines.
Yep.
So Smile Lines for a full album.
Oh, I love that so much. The commonality I see with the team, and I love this team of Elucid, Fanon, and Chop the Head. All three of these artists kind of make things dense and confusing but beautiful. Like there's a depth to their worlds, Fanon beats feel deeper than they should be. Like there's something about this resonance,
Mm-hmm.
And Elucid creates this world of confusion you don't want to get out of, and that Chop the Head, and it all feeds into itself really nicely. I'm really into it. Yep. It's a good deal.
Dope.
So
we got K's wild card pick now.
okay. So this one's interesting because, for me, when you're doing a draft, like near the end is where you just start kind of following your heart and your gut.
Yep.
So originally, it's funny because originally the pick for this, so an artist that I would want to work with Billy Woods. So I'm going to go with an artist, like do like a collab album, I guess.
Right.
So originally I was going to go with No Name.
Ooh.
But then I really thought about it because they did the song Gospel off of Sundial together.
Yeah, they did.
But then I really thought about it, and I changed my mind. I think I'd like to hear him go with someone like Silk Money.
Ooh,
So
Silk Money.
the guy who had the verse before him on Gospel.
Yep.
And I think what I'd like to hear from Billy, like, I think I'd like to hear him work with the youth, someone a little bit younger. I'd like there to be a youthful energy, and I'd like to hear someone, because you know you got a little taste of that with Danny Brown, but I think Silk Money's last album, it was a little bit long. It's called I Don't Give a Fuck About This Rap Shit. I'm gonna just drop until I don't feel like it anymore.
Yep.
That's who I want to hear someone like Billy Woods work with.
Yep. I love it. He's got that relentlessness. He's
Yeah.
he's got just a drive, and that would push Woods in an interesting direction. I love that.
And then I think Woods would push him as well. Like I think the exchange would just be intriguing to me. It's like you and I talk about like we think of collab albums almost like buddy cop films.
Yep.
And I think that this would, to me, Silk Money and Billy Woods would be an interesting buddy cop film.
Yep. Especially over Willie Green with the clarity you're going to get. That's really good stuff.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. I like that. The my wild card, I think it's probably not that wild. It's an LP feature. So now you get the Vortal Mega album produced by Preservation, and you look at the track listing and LP's right there. It'd be awesome. Yeah. Yep. Well,
Nice.
you know what you can do, Rhino? Put LP feature, no Vast Air feature. Let's do that. I'm off that with the Vast Air. So let it be known.
Bastaire, the only artist out of about 100 that asked me to pay him for an interview.
Wow.
Shocking.
Which I declined.
Fair.
As you should. Yeah.
Yep.
He should be so lucky. And I should bite my tongue. But.
The stories about Vast Air speak for themselves, but he is, he's past it, not, and I want Vortal Mega to come out of the shadows and be Vortal Mega for us and for him, so that there's no one that can play with his name. And I think that would be keeping Vast Air off that, keep putting LP on would be a great way to do that. Yep. What are you up to, Rhino, on the last pick?
Okay, I have my producer pick left. So this is for an Armand Hammer album that will be mixed and mastered by Willie Green. And I promise you, Dan, my selection was going to be LP even before you chose him for a feature. So I'm picking LP to produce this album. Armand Hammer, full length, every track produced by LP.
Oof. And mixed and mastered.
Give it to me. I need it. We need it.
Yep. That's the big show right there. That's the big one. I dig that. Oh, that's a good deal. So let's go over who has what for their teams and read that off, because I think we got some interesting teams. Let's see here.
Does anybody want to go first?
Let's see. Rhino, you read off your team first. Well, we can go in order.
Okay. So I'll go just how we have the categories laid out. Maybe that will make a bit more sense. So in album by a solo artist, the 101, I took Aethiops by Billy Woods. Album by a group, I took Shrines by Arm & Hammer. Album opener or closer, I took an opener, Spelling by Elucid. Song by a solo artist, Remorseless by Billy Woods. Song by multiple rappers or by a group, Lazy Dog by Shrapnel. For my verse, Year Zero, Billy Woods's verse. Feature verse, Open Mike Eagle on Dadaism 3. Am I saying that right? Dadaism?
Yep.
Dadaism.
Dadaism, yeah.
Album art. I went with Save Yourself by Elucid. Art by, or the photo by Alexander Richter. Compilation / mixtape / EP. Steel Tip Dove, Call Me When You're Outside. And then my trio, rapper, producer, wildcard, Arm & Hammer, produced by LP, mixed and mastered by Willie Green. I think I have the best team, y'all. It's pretty good.
Confident.
I'm happy.
My team definitely represents my experience with Backwoodz. I'm very happy. So I had for verse, primary verse, Wake Up Dead Man, verse 1 by Lucid. I had best group album, Brass, More Mother and Billy Woods. I had featured verse, Billy Woods on Bardo. All song by solo song, Billy Woods, All Jokes Aside. I had best cover art, Shrapnel, Metal Lung. My dream producer, Preservation. My opener, Ghostface Targaryen, by Shrapnel. You know, my primary dream MC, Vortal, Mega. Compilation, Doc Savage, which, by the way, I had to fight off my Young Medusa. I wanted to put Fielded on the board, but I would gotta have Doc Savage. I have Synonymisms, song by a group, Googie and Henry Canyons. Sketch 185, He Left Nothing for the Swim Back for albums. And my wild card, LP feature, but no Vast Air feature. Yep.
Nice. That seems like definitely a very Dano team.
Right.
I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah. It's it shows you the spectrum of Backwoodz for sure. For sure. By the way, another candidate for verse that should have been maybe in the mix for somebody, Def C's verse on this new Prem Rock EP. There's a new Prem Rock EP with Willie Green that just dropped, and Def C's verse is unbelievable.
Huh. I haven't got to that yet. I'm excited to listen to it. I love Prem.
Check it out.
You mentioned Fielded. Nothing. I don't think anyone picked anything Fielded. And did anyone pick anything Prem? Oh, you did, Joe.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot of love for Prem and Castro. Not enough.
Oh, I definitely showed some. Yeah, Ghostface Targaryen for me shows that. But
right, I guess some Shrapnel stuff got picked, but maybe not a ton of their solo stuff.
I definitely wanted to pick, Prem Rock's album, but there's too many in that category. It was brutal. Yeah. So yeah, who's okay? Okay.
All right. So I guess we go album solo. I have Def C for All Debts, Public and Private.
Yep.
Album group, Shrapnel and Controller 7, Nobody Planning to Leave. Album opener or closer, Western Automatic Music Part 2, Sketch 185. Song solo, Impasse by Lucid. Song with two rappers, Aaron McKee, Shrapnel.
Yep.
Verse, I had Billy Woods, NYC Tapwater, second verse. Feature verse, I had Year Zero, verse 2 by Danny Brown verse. Album art, I had Fatboy Sharif, Cyber City Society. Compilation mixtape was Dano's pick, Sharon,
Flight
Super
Brothers,
Sharon,
Super
Flight
Cron.
Brothers,
I
Strike
think
Anywhere.
yeah, Flight Brothers, Strike Anywhere.
And then rapper, rapper, producer, wild card would be a Billy Woods and Silk Money collaboration produced by Small Professor.
Nasty.
Small Professor producing a Billy Woods album would be amazing.
Love it.
Love that. That's a really cool team.
Mm.
I like that team. Caltrops, talk to us.
All right, so album solo, we've got I Told Bessie by Lucid. Album group, we've got Paraffin by Armand Hammer. Verse, we've got Premrock's verse on Bardo. Album closer, we've got Stone Fruit by Armand Hammer off of Haram. Feature verse, we've got Curly Castro off Wishing Bad from Haram. What is it? Compilation, mixtape, EP, 12-inch, etc. Is that what I got here? Yeah, like a side project type of thing. We got Small Bills, Elucid, and The Lasso. Don't Play It Straight. For album art, we went with Tim Fish, Ginger Slim's photograph for the Decay cover, Fatboy Sharif and Steel Tip Dove. I'm going to skip this here. Best collab track, we got Babylon by Bus, Woods, and Shrapnel. Best solo track, we've got Woods, Red Dust. And then the Dream Team, we've got August Fanon producing, Elucid spitting, and Chop the Head working the cover art. And I would like to maybe take a second to add interior photos on that booklet for that album by A. Richter.
Woo!
Cuts by Marcus Pin.
Mm.
Guest appearance by Fielded on at least one chorus where she does it just as she did on Western Education is Forbidden. And Gang PTP, King Vision Ultra on the mix. No disrespect to Willie Green, of course, but Gang is also quite adept behind the boards. And he would also be doing the cassette design. This would be a cassette-only release for people like me who only buy music on cassette nowadays.
Wow, this is good stuff. Full Vision. Oh, yeah. And Gang on the mix lets it be dirty in a way it needs to be. It's great.
Well said. Well said.
I missed, was it a fielded feature? Is that what I missed here?
Fielded it on at least one chorus.
Yep. All right. I love it.
Wow.
That's
Caltrops from the top rope there, just with all the additions to Wildcard. I love it.
I love that. The vision. The vision is there. It's strong. Yeah, so I'm that's before we go into the recommendation, I think we should talk about what our strategies were going into this draft. Did anyone have a strategy or a thought process going in as to what they were going to do or how they were going to envision their team?
I can speak about mine really briefly. I sort of talked about it. I wanted Aethiopes. It sounds like if I didn't get the 101, I might not have gotten it. Sounds like maybe Joe would have taken it. But I wanted that. And then I wanted the wild card category. To me, when I was coming up with it, I just kept coming back to having this Dream Project mix and mastered by Willie Green. And I wasn't as I couldn't think of anything else that stood out as much to me in that category. So I wanted to get those early on. And then I thought the categories where I have lots of options, I can just let those fall to me and choose them later on and get pretty good value. Like Remorseless in round 9, Lazy Dog round 10, Spelling round 8. I was thrilled to get those later on. I mean, there's so many options, you can't go wrong, but yeah, I was happy with that.
So my strategy was I'm gonna let go of Armand Hammer. Like basically, my thought process was Armand Hammer is gonna be in so much demand that I'm going to let go of Armand Hammer and the group stuff. And I love Shrapnel so much. It's just not, I'm not losing much going from Armand Hammer to Shrapnel for me. Um, and it allows me to kind of grab from the Woods Elucid solo catalog. Um, and then kind of switch up. So I let go of the thought process of getting Armand Hammer. Now that if they were available, I was still taking it, right? No question. Um, but I wasn't worried about it if it wasn't there. Because I kind of let go of that expectation. Um, yeah. And I always knew that I had like Henry Canyons in the back pocket. I've got Henry Canyon backups for closing songs, for openers, you know, for all kinds of stuff. So I just knew that there were parts of the Backwoodz catalog that are probably my jam that aren't people aren't worried about. So um yeah, I dug into some weird stuff for potentialities. But yeah, and Sketch. I was bullish about Sketch and wanting Sketch to be a part of this situation. He was my other pick for MC. It was Sketch or Vortal. Um, so I really wanted him represented there as well. Um, yeah, but that I think that was mine. Kay, did you have anything you were thinking of going into this?
No, I kind of just went with the flow of the draft. I mean, I I went with the things that, I experienced that resonated with me. I think that's all I was going for.
Perfect. That's beautifully said.
Yeah.
Caltrops Press with the what was your strategy?
Yeah, really such a novice. I didn't have much of a strategy coming in. A few hours before we went live, I started to say to myself, I guess there should be some preparation I'm doing.
That's
And I just
awesome.
started to think through things a bit. Um,
Oh, wow.
I will say that I panicked earlier in the week. Uh, Dan, you might have caught wind of this when I guess Rhino put the list of all the Backwoodz releases that he pulled off Discogs, which was a bunch of shit I had never heard of ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, how far back are we going? We're going back to like 2003. There's no way I'm going to be able to know what any of these things are about. So I realize now that that was just to be comprehensive and put the options out there if we needed them. It seems like Dano is really the only one with the knowledge, the depth of knowledge that could really speak to those at this point. I got some listening to do, is what my takeaway here. I got some listening to do.
When I told my wife that we were doing this, she was like, "You're such a nerd. Like this is going to be your thing." Like I was listening to The Chalice from 2004. There's an amazing song, I think it's called Damage, where he's making fun of the bulletproof vest the G Unit used to wear. Like it's unbelievable. Like the old stuff is so interesting. The Guilty Party, Mark Specht. There's so much wild stuff to track down and enjoy. Uh, yeah, pieces. So yeah, it was good. The to recommendation corner, we can do that here. Let's see.
Before we go there, Dan, can I just suggest,
Go for it.
like, if there's anything anyone had on their list that wasn't picked and they are surprised by it, or they want to, like, someone could probably draft a team just with the leftovers and have it be
Yeah.
incredibly
totally.
good. Selfishly, I'm bringing this up because I want to talk about a few things that I struggled to not pick, and then no one else picked them. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, you go first. I'll go after you.
All right. So for either song by a group or feature verse, or just verse, Elucid on King Tubby, I think is incredible. goes absolutely crazy on that song and raps maybe more authoritatively than he sometimes does, and it's so impressive to me. I love that song, uh, especially his verse. Um, Switchboard was a song I considered by Arm& Hammer. I think that's my favorite song from their most recent album. Dead Cars from Shrines. Those were all in the mix for me. I won't go over too many more here, but album openers and closers. Here's some that were left on the board: Asylum,
Mhm.
Paraquat, Smith and Cross, Running Rebel Swordplay.
Running Rebel Swordplay was on my list.
Yeah.
Uh,
No one picked the album art for Haram. I think it was mentioned, but
Yeah,
no one picked that.
I was thinking about that one. That was my other option, but then you picked the Alexander Richter photo for Save Yourself, so I laid off.
Um, Feature verses, Quelle on Chicharrones.
yeah, that was on my
That's what
list.
I want. Yeah.
I've got Sketch 185 on Iffy Holla, Rob Sonic on Meddlesome Kids.
Yeah, yeah.
No one took the Ox by Blockhead in
Oh,
compilation.
I
No one took White Label or Black Label.
yeah. I took I had the Ox in my cover art category.
Mm,
I just love that cover. I think it's really beautiful. Um, but yeah, the one that breaks my heart to not have picked is Young Medusa. Um, I have lots of theories about, like, I think Demisexual Lovelace was popular because it was kind of all it was kind of felt like alternative R&B ish. So it felt like it wasn't staunchly R&B. And Young Medusa is like, I listened to a bunch of classic R&B, and now I'm making my R&B. Um, and it's beautiful and I love it. And people really don't like it. And it didn't sell well. And I'm very protective of Young Medusa. And I wish I could have picked it, but uh, Doc Savage is critical to the the form of the thing. Um, the other ones for I had a ton of openers, but one of my interesting openers is Rabbi and the Golem from Trapdoor.
yeah. Yep.
That's a
Love that song.
The other one on solo song, if you guys had taken all jokes aside, I would have absolutely gone Walking Razor from Tosh.
Huh.
Walking Razor is one of my favorite Curly Castro songs ever. Uh, and I would have definitely gone that. The other group song, the other Shrapnel song. So I had a bunch of them that I didn't do there. Slewfoot would have been
Yeah.
great.
That was on my list. Yep.
But one of my favorite Shrapnel songs that I don't know is really Nitty at the Drew off Cobalt is dope. Yeah, my options were deep. I dug into this thing, and you know it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Do you have any options that you wish you could have taken? Okay.
I really wanted like my my favorite I think my favorite Backwood song in period is probably Death on the Installment Plan by Premrock.
Man.
So I really
Yes.
wanted to take that song, but I took the Elucid Impasse
Yep. Yep.
S. So I didn't get a chance to get it. But that if I hadn't taken Elucid, I would have taken that song 100%.
Man after my own heart, man. The
Great song.
It's a great one. Anything Caltrops on your way where you were?
I was flirting with selecting uh DJ Mo Nichols' They Who Control the Weather compilation, mixtape, whatever you want to call it. It's
Mm,
all a bunch of Arm& Hammer songs, um, Billy Wood songs, Lucid songs,
Yep.
where I think the concept was he's doing a mix based off his own uh, introduction to their work through their friendships. There's some sort of conceit there, um, but it's a nice. I suggested it to a friend. who needed an introduction to their work and didn't want to listen to 20 albums. You
Sure.
know, it's a good sampler.
I dig that. I dig that. The yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff. So I'm ready to go to recommendation corner if we're cool with that. The let's see here. I had it up. The through I think the new Prem Rock Willie Green EP is called Through Lines. Uh, and that is really dope. 6 songs. Um, you know, Curly Castro and Def C on Call Abandonment Rate is the one you absolutely need to hear. But it's so fun listening to Prem Rock. He's such yeah, kind of a spotless writer there. Um so that's one of my picks. The other one outside of hip hop is Night Owls by JD McPherson. Makes very kind of old school rock, and this is his newest, is one of his best, 10 songs. Really, really good stuff. But it's like music that sounds like you found it in the attic and blew the dust off, you know? But it's a tribute to that kind of music, but it's maybe better done than that kind of music was. The third pick is Traveling Light. We might get these people on the show. Money for Water is the MC, and most of the songs were produced by Shamar. Child Actors on there, Fanon's on there. Um, yeah, it's 18 songs. It's super dope. Really unique style and flow. And yeah, I would be excited if the opportunity comes up to chat because those are really talented people. Rhino, what are you bumping?
Um, all kinds of stuff as usual. I think for my rap recommendation, I think it might be my album of the year so far. It's certainly the one that I've gone back to the most and listened to the most. And even though it's a double album, it flies by. And that's Behemoth by Sacco and Vanzetti.
Oh, it's so fun.
Maybe a little bit of an unknown project to some people that are listening to this. If that's you, cue it up right away on Bandcamp. I think it's terrific. The Shaw is the producer who he actually has an Arm& Hammer remix album, which is really, really good. And Sko is the MC. Can't speak highly enough of him. I think he's one of the most underrated MCs rapping right now. I absolutely love that album. I'm going to have it on all my year-end lists, and I hope it gets some more shine. Outside of hip hop, I know you're up on this one, Dan. The Aaron Fraser album from a couple months ago, Into the Blue,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
retro soul, 70s pop kind of vibe to it. Although it's a bit more varied than that. He's got this really easy going falsetto. The instrumentation on it is tremendous. It's just a nice, yeah, retro soul album. I am listening to that nonstop. And then there's a The Sacred Souls album that comes out in a couple days that I'm really looking forward to.
Me
Also,
too.
they're another retro soul group, had a fantastic album from a couple years ago that,
Yeah.
as time has gone on, they've had 4 or 5 of their songs sampled by various indie and underground producers. But that one I'm looking forward to. The few songs that have been released so far are great.
Yeah, Rhino, the we interviewed the Heart Tones, who
Oh
released
yeah, yep.
Forever and Ever off Big Crown, and we were asking them like inspirations for where they're at. And they cited Duran Jones and the Indications, and we talked about Aaron Fraser because I was like, first Duran Jones and the Indications album is how I want drums to sound on R&B albums. They're beautiful. and they talked about Into the Blue. They talked about Aaron Frazier and just how great a drummer he is. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a little hip hop element to his music. I mean, to a lot of the retro soul that I like, but particularly the drum breaks.
Right.
And on this new one, there's 4 or 5 songs that yeah, you can definitely hear that influence. I know he's a fan and a scholar of hip hop. So yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. The yeah. What is Joe? How what do you listen to?
Um, I want to recommend Otherwise a Blur, August Fanon and Black Shy. It's a really strong project. I just had Black Shy do a Raps and Crafts interview for our series. He's a really talented MC, interesting, seems to really immerse himself in cultural artifacts of the past and present, and he's writing for the future. And the Phenom beats are on point as always. So check that out if you haven't already. I mentioned Elmatic earlier. My writer friend, he recommended to me this producer DJ Tension, spelled number 10 SHUN most times. I've seen it spelled alternate ways. Based in San Francisco, I think. And the album that Elmatic sent me was Nihilism. Really good stuff. It was like Mr. Dibbs level dark, breaks, grimy, scratches. Really enjoyed that. He's got a lot of stuff up on Bandcamp. Then what a non-hip hop album. Something I've been going back to. I haven't really, it hasn't really left the CD player in the car for a few years. Sharon Van Etten, Remind Me Tomorrow.
Right, right.
Big fan of that project. Bit of a Jersey connection there.
Very dope lyricist. Very
Yeah. And then I just want to add, Rhino, I don't know if you know that me and the Shah from Sacco and Van Zenny go way back, 25
Oh,
years probably.
now that you say that, I do remember maybe seeing one of you talk about that or tweet about that. Have you had him on for that Raps and Crafts series that you do?
Sco? No, I haven't
Yeah.
had Sco on yet. I just met Sco this summer through the Shah, but yeah, the
Oh,
Shah.
I see. Okay, so it's Phil that you know or that you do. Okay.
He's got so many names. I could tell you his first producer name because he was making beats for me 25 years ago, but I won't do that.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a friend, he's a brother. And it's great to see him and Sco have such success with the Sacco and Vanzetti project. Some real heavy shit.
It is, yeah, man. That record has a grip on me. So, Joe, it took me a minute to find the artist you mentioned, Tension, on Bandcamp. What was the name of the project you recommended
The
again?
project that I actually was listening to is not on there. It's Nihilism.
Oh, okay.
Elmatic had to send me some MP3s of that from his own private folder. So if you hit him up, or even I could hit it, send it your way. But all of his stuff was really when I was dabbling around, it was really impressive.
Yeah, again, just for the listeners, if anyone's looking, it took me a minute to find it on Bandcamp. I guess the search is kind of tricky, but how I found it is TENSHUN hyphen 10SHUN, and then that. Otherwise, it was only bringing up a couple projects, but this brings up like
Gotcha.
30. Yeah, cool.
absolutely. Yes. Thank you all for being here. This was everything we wanted it to be. We got the teams we wanted. So I appreciate you. We'll stay in touch and maybe do more things in the future as they come.
Mm.
Thanks for having us. Yeah,
Thanks for having
pleasure
me.
to be on with you guys. You do a lot for indie hip hop, Dan. I admire that a lot. When I bring up my Bandcamp, I always see your icon on there. Dan has already purchased this album.
It's such a weird deal to be this deep into the game. Like K Diggy is a joke name I made up on the first episode of this show. and I just kept calling him K Diggy because it was funny to me. And then guests came on calling him K Diggy, and it's like it's too far now. Like it just is what it is. So that's the kind of nonsense that just takes place over time.
Mm.
But you gotta love it. We'll on the next 100th episode, you rename me, Kay. We'll switch it up.
All right, I'll start preparing.
All right.
What will tomorrow